Hi everyone. It's just me at the moment. Luigi's busy walking around, so maybe at some point he'll join us and just walk across the screen. Um, the angels wanted me to talk about planting a garden and growing vegetables and flowers and the importance of trees. So, where to begin? So, the angels were speaking about how, most of us go to the shop and we get the things we need. Some of us go to the local grocer. I myself have recently started ordering a box of veggies that comes from an organic farm close by, and they deliver once a week in the morning. And I really feel the difference. I feel the difference in my body. I feel the difference in my mind. Some people might say it's just in your mind, but I feel the difference. And it makes me feel like they pick the food the night before, so I know that the food is fresh and it comes from the earth with all the vitality and all the nutrients still intact. Because I think the longer that vegetables are left from picking, the more they lose that kind of high vibrational frequency. And as I've said in previous videos, I really believe that messages and energy is contained in the vegetables that feeds our spirituality, that helps us to communicate with God and the angels. There's magic in the fruit and vegetables that connects us to all that is, that in a way that isn't in processed food. And I wanted to speak about how the angels are communicating about growing our own vegetables, fruit and vegetables, having trees around us, having flowers around us. Recently, the angels told me to start growing my own fruit and vegetables. And you don't need to have a big garden or space for this. I mean, some vegetables and things can be grown in pots indoors or with a small space outside. And I know nothing about any of this. So when the angels asked me to, I was quite scared. I really haven't had any previous experience, but I thought to myself, well, if I'm getting these messages, and we all get these messages, and they come so subtly, they come and they go, so it's quite easy to miss them or discount them as imagination. And so it's very important to be tuned in to that kind of small voice within that will just pass comments in a non-judgmental way. And this is the key. It's not the voice that tells you you're bad, you're not good enough, and all the things that you did wrong in the past to yourself and to others. It's not that voice. It's a still voice within that is in your camp, that tries to help you and is there for you, and it comes untainted with no feeling to it, just a pure message. So it's good to distinguish between the two. So the angels, getting back to them wanting me to plant a garden, I started ordering all these different seeds and planting, and I planted kale and cabbage and broccoli and beetroot, onions, leeks, strawberries, all these things, beans, green beans. And it's interesting because I'm still in the process with it, but I've had some difficulty where two winds blew over my greenhouse. It's a greenhouse not of glass but of plastic, and I woke up in the morning to find all the vegetables everywhere and the mud everywhere and buckets everywhere and troughs everywhere. And I thought to myself, goodness, if I was out in the wild and I truly needed to depend on this food, I would starve, because I was clueless, and now my food's all over the floor. But I picked it up and I repotted everything that I could and brought things inside that needed to be re-nurtured. And then the next day I came downstairs and the wind had blown the greenhouse over again, and everything was all over the place, and only the stuff I had taken inside was safe. And it's kind of disheartening. And sometimes that experience, gardening is not actually that different from life. Is you try things and you build things, and then they don't work out, or there's obstacles, or things break, or things get lost, or people stand in our way. And it's the same in life as it is with the garden. I'd really read up on different things. I put my whole heart into it. I spent so many hours working and preparing, and then in a moment everything was ruined and gone, and a person starts to think, well, why me? Why did this happen? I was just following, the angels told me to do this, and then you get to understand that gardening can teach you so much about life with the reaping and the sowing, and as well as that it isn't always a smooth sailing, that there is going to be difficulties, and it's about working out, okay, not judging the experience and calling it bad luck, or calling I have bad luck, but about saying that this is just a part of life, that you work at things and there will be obstacles and there will be winds and there will be rains, and instead of kind of cursing the elements or people, just seeing that somehow going through these different obstacles will make you stronger and will produce better crops and produce different kinds of flowers and fruits and vegetables that we grow within ourselves. So it's a really beautiful metaphor. And when we're no longer reaping and sowing, we lose almost a reflection in our inner life of this idea of reaping and sowing, because we go to the supermarket, we go to the grocer, we just order, everything arrives, and I know this was true in my life, is that we lose an appreciation for how much work goes into getting all those strawberries. I mean, my strawberry bush is just giving me 2.5 strawberries at the moment, and I think to myself, when I get a whole carton of strawberries, how sometimes I could take that for granted. And now I understand the true work behind growing fruit, and here's Luigi, growing vegetables. And so the angels are saying how important it is, if you don't want to grow a whole bunch of things, then maybe just start with an avocado seed. And I have these up at the moment, and it takes about 2 to 3 months to even see a stem, and then the leaves come out, and it's the most incredible metaphor to see that you look at something and you just see the seed, and you don't realize how much is contained within the seed. Like us, we look this way and we might think, well, that's all there is to me, or that's all there is to the other person. But deep within them is a huge flower, is a huge tree, is all different kinds of fruit. And growing fruit and vegetables helps us to see, as the stages go on, that how long certain things take. I mean, there's some trees that take 15 to 20 years to bear fruit, and it helps us to have patience within ourselves for what we're trying to do in our life, and working at different relationships, because the angels say sometimes people feel very despondent. And I know from my practice, people say, well, I work so hard at this, in my spirituality, at my relationships, and I see nothing. And I ask them, how long have they been working at it? And they'll say, maybe some people say 3 months, some people say 5 years. And this, what the angels are saying, this is a lifetime's journey. This is a lifetime's work. It's not something we work really hard at for 2 years or 3 months and throw in the towel or get frustrated with ourselves or others. But to see it as we do all we can with the time we have while we're in our body. And so I really recommend with the angels to just take 1 or 2, pick a fruit or vegetable, something that is a long-term plant, and an immediate one and a long-term one, because you also want to get the fruit and vegetables now, and see it as a metaphor for the fruit and vegetables within yourself, your own jewels. So we truly are flowers in the garden of humanity. We didn't manage to talk too much about the flowers and trees, but that'll be a next episode. Okay, bye.